So I'm about to start work for the day, and there's this tendency to want to just rush in and get stuff done as quick as possible. But now and then I have to remind myself to just slow down and do a journal. Since I can draw and I like drawing comics, I usually do these journal entries in a form of comics. Sometimes I take time to draw them really nicely, and sometimes I just do them really quickly. And this is how I do it. I usually do it in this format. I can do it horizontal, like this, or a more portrait layout. And I have a template. In the first box, I fill in what I did recently. The second box, a thought I had recently. And then there's this two parts, which is part A and part B, and I'll fill in a conversation I had. This is where I put speech bubbles. This one thing that made me smile. And then one thing I ate recently. Because if I ask myself, what did I eat perhaps last Wednesday? I can't really remember. So this actually reminds me of yummy food I've eaten recently. Okay, find a blank page. Guess this will do. Choose a pen. I do like this Sailor, what's the number? 1911. Just one of my smoothest fountain pens. And it's just fun to draw with. Drawing a simple box. Not using a ruler. I do like this simple hand-drawn line. It feels more honest. So what did I do recently? So for this one and the next few ones, I'm going to put a header. I find that it makes the comic clearer. Perhaps I'll put when. Now for the conversation I had or I heard recently. Dang, it does make me think. But it also goes to show how easily we forget conversations. So I put a conversation I had with who. So if a person who is not familiar with my life or my family and they read this, they can still easily understand it. If not, they'll be wondering, who are these people? Now, how do I do this? And I'm not doing any penciling, so just going straight with pen, but somehow that actually makes me just go with it and not overthink it. If I do penciling and then I do inking, it just feels like too much work. And this way also helps me to build my confidence. think I'll put where as well. That's because I'm doing such a tight crop. I don't really have space to draw much of the background. How do you spell pajamas? So in a week there could be lots of stressful things, and this panel just helps me to focus on something good. So the title can be one thing that made me smile or one thing that made me feel happy. What could this be? Hopefully this is clear enough that this is a fridge. And lastly, one thing I ate recently. I think I've done far shots, mid shots. I think I could use a close-up shot. Close-ups are great for food because I can show more of the details. Yep, the chicken was nicely sous vide, and it also came with fish sauce, and it was really tasty. Oh yes, I'm gonna put a title. No, it should be just recently, November 2024. And now to color it. First, maybe just add some small details there. And I'm just gonna color with watercolor. Although it's a bit more risky, I could ruin it, but it's also quicker. So this is how it turned out. I think for the first frame, I overdid it with the coloring. One thing about watercolors is that you just want to be decisive and don't overdo it. But one thing great about watercolor is that even with these little blemishes, it still looks fine to me. But if I were to do this with digital coloring, this would look like an obvious mistake. Thoughts like this do help me to focus on the good things I have and helps me to feel more grateful. So this is my diary for this morning, a piece of recorded history. If you like, you could use the same template I used here. It's not cast in stone. I sometimes swap things around or add new items. You could try this on your own and see if it helps you to slow down. And now it's time to start work.